Hello friends, this video is specifically made for parents, those parents who want their children to take up the sport of shooting. And I request you to kindly share this video with all the parents you know whose children are in shooting, especially those children who are between 12 to 18 years of age. To begin with, shooting has become a very popular sport, and with every passing year, the number of shooters, especially young shooters, is increasing by tens of thousands. And the reason for this is that the sport is extremely transparent. Whatever you shoot, the score is shown on the board, not only for the shooter and the parents to see, but for the entire world to note. And the same scores are put up on the result sheets. So there is no question of fudging. The second most important thing is that norms have been set. Certain minimum qualifying scores have been set to qualify for the national championships, to qualify for the selection trials, to qualify for the probables, the national squad. And again, the scores and the norms are set for you to represent and participate in international competitions. All these norms and scores have been published well in advance by the NRAI. So it is extremely transparent, and all these details are published on the website for everyone to check and to see. So there is no question of partiality, and only merit takes precedence. Thirdly, this is a non-contact sport where there is no contact between the shooter, the student, and the coach, as may happen in judo, wrestling, or any other sport. Now, for all these reasons that I have discussed, parents feel that their children, if they have the talent, they expect the child to perform well so that they can represent India at the international level, and even the junior international level. You can secure a good job in any of the public sector, or even nowadays, some governments, state governments, have vacancies and openings in various sections of the government, in the bureaucracy. So with this expectation of a good job and a good future, parents want to push their children to take up the sport and to perform. Initially, what happens is, when the scores are low at a club level, maybe the child wins a medal or two. Now, at a score of 330 and 340, it's very easy to win medals at a club level. But what happens is, this creates an expectation among the parents. They start feeling, yes, now my child has got a chance of making a bright future in shooting. Yes, it could be possible. But mind you, the score at which your child has won a medal is very low. And to get into the Indian team, the score difference is very, very high. If your child has won a medal between 330 and 340, which translates to about between 520 and 530 in a 600 shot match, then please remember that to qualify for the Indian team, your scores have to be around 580. And there's a huge gap, a gap of nearly 50 points, 50 to 60 points, and overcoming this gap is not easy. And parents are not aware of what it takes to cover this gap. Not knowing this, parents start putting too much pressure on their children. At the age of 12 years and 14 years, they are pushing their children into the sport and thinking that the younger the child is, the better his chances of becoming an international shooter and having a bright future. It is this expectations which creates pressure on your child. Now, this is one kind of pressure. The second thing is, when I go for competitions, and I have seen in the last 30 years, I have seen many parents accompanying their children. And when the child does not perform, the parent gets depressed. Seeing the parent, the child gets depressed. And this goes on from match to match. And finally, the child feels that he is letting down his parent, stops enjoying his shooting, and goes into a small depression of his own. And over a few years, these children give up the sport. Okay, you give up the sport is fine. It's okay. You can concentrate on some other area. But you'll always have this image of failure in your mind. And here the parents are responsible because of expectations, because they feel bad that the child has not won. They are creating a failure image in the child, which will affect his entire life. The third thing is, I find parents comparing their children's performance with other children. See, that fellow shot so much, and you've shot only this much. Why? My dear friends, if you really want to understand what shooting is, I suggest you take up the pistol, go on the shooting range, and start shooting. And then, and only then, you will understand what it takes to take up the pistol and shoot on the firing point. I suggest that each parent must do this exercise. Not only must he just take up the pistol once, but should train regularly and try and go for at least one simple competition so that you will understand what your child is going through. The next point I want to take is, which I've already mentioned before, is parents are throwing young children, 12 years, 13 years, straight away into shooting. Recently, I had a 10-year-old child coming in. The parent was a doctor, and she said, my child is into shooting. And I said, how old is he? She said 10 years old. I was shocked. I said, ma'am, let me tell you that my son is 12 years old and I'm not introducing him to pistol shooting. I will only introduce him to pistol shooting at the age of 14, and that also when his height is at least 5'2" to 5'5", 5 feet 2 inches to 5 feet 5 inches. His weight is at least 55 kilos, and I have made sure that his shoulder muscles and all the muscles required for shooting are extremely strong. Only then will I give him a pistol. And I told this young lady, she's a doctor, to please go on the internet and check, Google the injuries that take place in pistol shooters. Finally, I want to tell each and every parent that there is no guarantee, absolutely no guarantee, that your child will become an international shooter and will therefore get a good job. There is no guarantee. 1 in 1 lakh shooter, 1 in 100,000 shooter makes it into the Indian team. So please have your expectations realistic. Instead, I request you to take up the sport parallel to another career path. Let your child follow his academics, specialize in whatever they want to do, so that if they don't succeed in pistol shooting, then they have a profession to follow. They can be chartered accountants, they can be architects, they can be doctors, they can be anything. Just don't bank 100% only on shooting, because you are heading for trouble. Now, in my case, not only have I not given my son, who's about 12 years old, a pistol to shoot, though his mother's an international and I am an international coach, and all around him throughout the day he's got a pistol all over, pellets, ammunition, targets, and he's itching to shoot. But I said, no, you have to be first physically fit. The second thing is that we have already started planning out what his career path should be like. So we have identified certain areas which he can follow and pursue along with shooting. And there are many career paths. Chartered accountancy is one. Law is another. Like this, there are many other career paths which your son or daughter can follow along with shooting. Now, the last thing I want to tell you is, please take up the sport of shooting as something to improve yourself. Shooting is a very cruel sport, and with every shot, your child will have to learn to cope up with failure. This is one of the greatest things this sport can teach you. So there are many other things, many other factors which your child can develop by taking up pistol shooting. Please take it up as character building, and to develop concentration, to develop confidence, to develop visualization skills, to develop interpersonal skills. These, and along with this, there are many skills which shooting teaches you. The main goal for you to take up pistol shooting is to develop these skills. If you concentrate and push your child to take up the sport of pistol shooting for self-development, then you're on the right path and your child will not be under any pressure. Once again, I request all of you to share this video with as many parents as possible. Because in the last 30 years, I have seen parents pushing their children, and I have, in 3 years' time, I don't see them back on the shooting range. They are finished. And if you wish to understand what parenting should be, then please read Abhinav Bindra's book, A Shot at History, and see how his parents have fulfilled their duties as ideal role models. Thank you.